The instant Emily Carter stepped into the grand hall of the Bremerton Naval Base, her faded jeans and scuffed boots drew snickers from a trio of junior officers. She looked like she'd stumbled into the wrong place, her plain gray t-shirt creased, her auburn hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. No polish, no pretense, just a woman who seemed out of place amid the crisp uniforms and gleaming medals. It was March 15th, 2027, and the air buzzed with anticipation for the Pacific Fleet's international handover ceremony. Admirals strutted with chests full of ribbons, contractors flashed designer watches, and foreign dignitaries carried themselves with quiet arrogance. Emily didn't belong, or so they thought. She tucked herself into a corner by a window overlooking the Puget Sound, her hands empty except for a worn leather ID case in her pocket. Her hazel eyes scanned the room, calm but sharp, catching every smirk, every whisper. She didn't flinch. The officers by the coffee station kept at it, their laughter sharp. "Bet she's here to mop the floors," one said, a lieutenant with a cocky grin. "Or got lost on her way to the docks," another chimed in, his voice loud enough to turn heads. Emily's fingers tightened around her ID case, a small, private motion. A woman in a tailored suit glanced her way, whispering to her colleague, who chuckled. The room's judgment was a cold wave, but Emily stood still, her posture relaxed, her gaze steady, like she was waiting for a storm no one else saw coming. A young aide, clutching a tablet, approached her, his tone a mix of pity and impatience. "Ma'am, this is for ceremony personnel only. Deliveries go to the rear entrance." Snickers followed. Emily silently handed him her ID. He squinted at it, his confidence wavering. "This doesn't look right," he muttered, holding it up like it was a fake. "Does it need to?" she asked, her voice soft but cutting. He mumbled an apology and scurried off. The room's chatter grew louder, the officers bolder. "Logistics is that way," the lieutenant sneered, his buddies egging him on. Emily met his gaze, her voice low. "Am I in the wrong place?" The question hung like a blade, and he faltered, laughing it off. Then, an older man in a navy suit, his silver hair neatly combed, passed by. He paused, gave Emily a nod, and said, "Ma'am." The officers froze, their smirks gone. He didn't explain, just walked on, his presence silencing them. A young ensign, her uniform pristine, approached Emily cautiously. "You're not what I expected," she said, eyeing Emily's clothes. "They say you're a myth." Emily handed her a worn challenge coin, its edges smooth from years of handling. "Expect less," she said quietly. The ensign's eyes widened at the insignia, but Emily was already looking away, back to the sea. The ceremony's setup churned on, but the whispers grew sharper. A logistics coordinator, her badge clipped tightly, marched over. "You can't stand here. This is for VIPs." Emily handed her a crumpled memo with a Navy SEAL emblem. The woman's face paled as she read it, backing away without a word. At the restricted area, a security guard blocked Emily's path. "Civilians don't belong here," he snapped, eyeing her expired ID. A contractor nearby scoffed. "That badge is a joke." Emily's gaze didn't waver. "Do I need a new one?" she asked, her calm voice slicing through his bravado. Before he could respond, Admiral Thomas Reed, his uniform heavy with ribbons, stepped in. "Let her through," he said, glancing at her ID. "She doesn't need a new badge." The guard stepped back, stunned. In the VIP section, an aide with a tablet frowned. "You're not on the seating chart." Emily's response was simple. "Check again." The aide's face drained as she read her screen, pointing to a front-row seat without a word. A British delegate, her dress sleek, muttered about the lack of a dress code, her voice dripping with disdain. Emily ignored her, her eyes on the ocean, her fingers brushing her ID case like a talisman. As the ceremony began, the MC called for Emily Carter. The room searched, confused. No one looked at the woman in faded jeans. A politician in a sharp suit muttered, "Must be a mistake." Emily stepped to the podium, her sneakers silent. The room waited for her to falter, but her voice was steady, recounting the 2023 Battle of Tsushima, straight every code, every maneuver, the 6-minute window that saved a fleet. The silence was deafening, broken only by a standing ovation. An older officer in the front row, his face lined with memory, nodded. He'd been there. Emily stepped down, unfazed, as a senator rose. "The Navy looks forward, not back," he said, dismissing her. The room tensed, but Emily didn't react. She walked to the balcony, her hands on the railing, as a Blackhawk's roar grew louder. The USS Abraham Lincoln loomed on the horizon, its horn a low growl. A Special Forces soldier stepped into the hall. "Captain Carter, your escort awaits." The room froze. The senator's face paled, the delegate's glass trembled, the officer's jaws dropped. Emily followed the soldier, her steps sure, as the helicopter's blades drowned out the silence. The aftermath was swift. The lieutenant was reassigned to a desk in Alaska. The guard faced probation. The contractor's firm let him go. The delegate's contract vanished. The senator's speech was cut from the record. Emily didn't see it. She was already aboard the helicopter, her eyes on the horizon, her hands still. The base whispered her name, Tsushima, the shadow. She didn't need their awe or their regret. She'd walked through their judgment and emerged whole. What would you do if you were Emily, facing a room that judged you before you spoke? Would you stay silent or fight back? Have you ever been underestimated, your worth dismissed? Drop your story below, hit like, and follow for more tales of triumph over doubt.